Thank you so much for popping on tonight. We appreciate it. I'm not going to say much more other than like give us all that you've got, and I'm going to take so many notes.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Can you guys give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay on there? Thumbs up? Awesome. So I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and present to your team. I don't take this opportunity lightly, guys. I really don't. And I promise that I'm going to bring you so much value, whether you're a seasoned coach, whether you're brand new to this. My goal tonight is to truly help you master your mindset and overcome the negative self-talk that goes on up here that gets in the way of you achieving the things that you actually want out of your business and your life. And the reason I say life and business is because this isn't just about the next rank or about recruiting your first 2 coaches or about beating your best or whatever it is. It's not about that. Right? It's not just about that. It's about your life too. So as we go through all of this, I want you to picture your husband, picture your wife, picture those people in your life that matter. Picture your kids, because most of the time when you have that one little aha moment that transforms your business, your life also transforms. In fact, a lot of the times, and this is what I always teach, a lot of times people make the mistake of thinking they need the new strategy for their business, the new the next best way to invite, the next best way to run a challenge group. And those things are helpful, yes. But if your mindset is messed up, it doesn't matter, right? So this always comes first. So I'm curious, type in the chat box on Zoom here, or just any goal that you have. What's a really big goal that you have? It can be your business, but any part of your life. What is a really big goal? Type that in the chat box right now. I want to get some energy going in here and see what you guys are shooting for. And the reason I say that, it's because a couple months ago, you guys got back from Summit, right? And you're starting to notice for Diamond by November 3rd, 5-time elite team. I love that. So like, you guys probably noticed this by now, but that energy of Summit tends to die off, and you need to create that energy from within, right? So look at these goals that you're typing in. Superstar elite for the first time, making income from coaching, full-time coach. I love this, guys. This is amazing. So look at that goal that you typed in, right? There's a wonderful thing about that goal. A wonderful thing about that goal. There is a recipe to make it happen. You guys know that. You know your basic business building activities. We're not going to talk about that. But those are your recipe, right? But something you might miss along the way is it's how you use your ingredients of that recipe that actually matter. So what do I mean by that? You could invite 1 billion people, right? But if your mindset is off, it's not going to matter. Right? You can invite 1 billion people, but if your mindset is off, you're going to repel them. You could pour hours and hours and hours into a support group for your clients, right? For your challenge groups. But if your mindset is off, they're not going to feel like you're actually trying to help them. In fact, they're going to feel like you're using them, almost like they're a pawn in your scheme to make money, right? So what goes on in your mind, your self-talk, your mindset is by far and above the most important piece of all of this. And you've heard that before, right? You've heard you got to do your personal growth and development. You got to do 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 pages, whatever a day. You've heard that, right? And so I'm not going to just repeat that on this call, but instead of just knowing it, tonight I'm going to show you how to apply it, especially when you hit a place in your business and your life when you don't want to apply it. Because I get it, right? Like you're in those situations where you want your business and your life to change, but sometimes things aren't going along with your expectations and you kind of get in those mindset slumps. I've talked to Niki about this numerous times over the years, where you get into those slumps and you want things to change and you feel like you're doing everything right, but your mindset is off, right? So I'm going to share with you how to break through that. And before I do, I want to share a couple of quick stories. And the reason I want to share these stories isn't to say, poor, poor Brad. It's not to bring up a tragic part of my past or a sad part of my past. The reason is I want to show you where my limiting beliefs came from. Because every single one of you has a limiting belief. And if you don't believe you have a limiting belief, that is your limiting belief, right? So after these stories, I'm going to show you how to take your limiting beliefs and your negative self-talk and turn them into an actual tool for your success and happiness. So a couple stories. Growing up, I had an emotional roller coaster of a childhood, and it led me some pretty limiting beliefs about how life is. It completely screwed with my success and my belief in my own abilities. And I'm curious, raise your hand if any time in your past you've ever been able to relate to the topic of money stress. Have any of you guys ever been able to relate to the topic of money stress? Raise your hand, right? Awesome. A lot of us do. Okay, so I remember growing up, my parents would fight about money almost every single day. There was always a limitation, some form of we can't afford that, some form of you spent how much on what, right? Like I remember witnessing these screaming matches between my parents and I never understood why. And I remember one time I was probably 10 years old, something like that. But it was a particularly bad fight between my parents and they were having a fight about why the bank account was overdrawn again. And there were swear words being thrown back and forth at each other. And I remember being a little boy and I said, why do you guys always have to fight about stupid money? And my mom snapped at me and she goes, shut the fuck up and go to your room. Sorry about the language, guys. If you have kids around, I'm just going to be straight with you tonight, okay? So she said that, said, go to your room, right? And my brother and I are crying. And in that moment, my dad comes over with one of those soft soap dispensers and starts pouring soap on my mom's neck. And just right in front of us. And it was like this tragic memory as a kid. You're terrified because your parents are screaming. It's like starting to get a little bit physical. You don't know what to do. We don't know if we're supposed to be mad at mom for telling us like mean things or mad at dad for upping the argument a level, whatever it was. But all that stress around money happened all the time. And whenever it was brought up, it seemed like someone was about to be punched in the face. Obviously that never happened, but all this stress made me hate and fear money. And I would see my parents overdraft that bank account weekly. There were day-to-day fights, screaming matches almost every day of my childhood, never having a peaceful Christmas or birthday, always saying no to vacations because of money. And see my parents struggle even to this day and eventually get divorced because of one of these. This is a main topic of that divorce, right? I believe money made you a horrible person. I believed it was bad. I believe that it tore relationships apart. And it's the reason why it took me so long to propose to my wife. Because I was afraid that if we got married and had money, it would rip us apart, okay? And on top of the money, I had an incredibly turbulent relationship with my mother. Raise your hand if there is someone in your life that you have a rocky relationship with and you know there's something about that relationship that's getting in the way of your success in some way. You can't quite tell what it is, but there's something about that person or that situation from someone in the past that's kind of getting in the way of something. You just have a gut feeling. Right? I had an incredibly turbulent relationship with my mother. Now, let me just say, I love my mom, and she's a very good person, very kind, very loving, but I had to forgive her for a lot of shit from my childhood, a lot. And getting to that point took some time because I was really angry with her and I was sad. And I didn't realize it at the time that she was loving me as much as she possibly could in the only way that she knew how at the time, which was her needing complete control. Right? And I just have this memory that just one example drilled into my head like it was yesterday. I'd be laughing and joking around on the bus on the way home from school. It's just the same situation that kept coming up over and over again. And my stop would come up. I'd see it in the distance and I would get all nervous and uncomfortable. And the bus would pull up, that little stop sign would flip out, right? And I'd take my blue backpack, I'd walk up the bus, go across the lawn, and I'd get to my big garage door, and I'd type in the 4-digit code, I'd open the garage door, I'd walk through, and instantly, boom, get hit with the smell of cigarette smoke. And cigarette smoke reminds me of my childhood. That's why I've never touched a cigarette. But the minute I walked into the door, I would see my mom sitting on the computer, cigarette in one hand, hand on a computer mouse in the other hand, playing some computer game. And here's the thing that challenged me as a kid. Sometimes I would never get a hello. Sometimes I would get a, hey, sweetie, how you doing? And most of the time, I would be told to shut up and go to my room. And I was so confused as a little kid. I didn't understand why. And I remember thinking, why doesn't my mom love me? Obviously, she did. There just wasn't consistency. But as a kid, you don't know what to think, right? And I tell you this for a reason. I'll get to that in a second. But that's just one example. And I grew up craving my mom's love and never quite feeling like I was enough for her. I never felt worthy. I never felt like I deserved someone loving me for me. And that screwed with how I lived my life. I'd be like a chameleon. I'd change who I was depending on the peer group I was in. I just wanted to feel accepted, right? I always wanted to be the center of attention, and I always wanted to be up on stage, right? Because it helped me feel loved. It helped me feel accepted when smiling eyes were on me. So I never felt like I was enough, and that is one of my biggest limiting beliefs that I've had growing up, and it stemmed from the relationship I had with my mom. That I never felt like I was enough, that I secretly didn't actually believe I was worthy of anything awesome. And you might have a different story, but where can you see yourself in parts of those stories, right? What limiting belief or beliefs do you have now because of something that happened years ago? right? That you haven't forgiven or forgotten yet. See, when you're little, you're really, really impressionable, right? And it's in those impressionable times as a kid that your beliefs about yourself and your abilities start to take shape. See, when I started my business 5-6 years ago, it didn't matter how many people I invited. I remember being in Niki's living room literally talking about this. It didn't matter how many people I invited. It didn't matter how many social media posts I put up. It didn't matter how many team calls I spoke on for my team. It was always the same. My bank account was always overdrafting. My paychecks were a couple $100 a week, and I was just skating by. And I remember seeing that red font on chase.com. How many of you are familiar with the red font of chase.com that says overdrafted by X number of cents or dollars? And I remember seeing that all the time just a few years ago. And I remember my worth, I felt that my worth was measured by the number of successful people that I knew, or the number of times I could get my face in front of people. I just didn't feel worthy, right? Because when you don't have love over a long period of time, it actually destroys your feeling of worth, right? There's an equation for self-worth. Love over time equals self-worth. That's it. Love over time equals self-worth. You can write that down and use it in a Facebook post later, but it's true, right? I wanted to feel like I finally mattered, and we all do stuff like that sometimes. But my clients and my friends ask me all the time why I decided to start Appreciation Academy. And sure, I want all the same things you guys do, right? I want the business, the freedom, the success, the lifestyle, the life by design, all that stuff. But the real reason is because I needed to finally figure out how to get unstuck from these limiting beliefs that were holding me back, that I could finally break through and live the life that I actually wanted to live. And so I'm going to share with you a couple of tools to do that tonight, just a couple of the tools. So the reason I want to tell you these tools is because when I tried to build a business, the overwhelming amount of negative self-talk and limiting beliefs stopped me in my tracks. And I found a way to overcome it. And if you want to change your business and your life like I did, like Niki did, like Steph did, all these people, there are a few things that you can do. And the first is to rewire the supercomputer of your mind. You don't have to write that down. It's not important. But to rewire the supercomputer of your mind. You'll see what I mean in a second. So you start to tell yourself these stories, right? Money is bad. Eating healthy is hard. I can't find a loving partner. My kids are idiots. My spouse is an ass. Whatever it is. I'm not enough, right? And if you say it enough times, you start to believe it. Have you ever told yourself a story or ever told a story so many times over the years at a party? And you've told that story so many times, you started making things up to sound kind of cool that you don't even know what parts of the story are real anymore, right? And you've exaggerated it so many times, and you're at these parties, you start telling different things, and you've said it so many times that you start to believe it because you have all this conviction in what you're saying. The same thing happens with your limiting beliefs and your negative self-talk, right? You say it so many times to yourself that you start to believe it. Only instead of it being a fun party topic, it sabotages your life. Those are your disempowering beliefs or your default software, right? You go through life believing that negative self-talk in your mind. And have you ever been sitting there on the couch at any point in your life just wondering why you're being so mean, wondering why your life isn't where you want it to be, and not knowing how to fix it even though you want it to change so bad? We're going to start to learn right now. So the first thing you need to know is that you are not broken. There's nothing freaking wrong with you, and nobody needs to fix you. You just need to rewire how this thing works, right? You have to believe that you're enough. You have to believe that you're important. You have to believe that you're actually worthy of achieving the things that you want, because until you actually believe that you're worthy of achieving your dreams, it's going to be really freaking hard to do it. And you can do this by changing the questions you ask yourself. Write this down. Better questions annihilate negative self-talk. Better questions annihilate negative self-talk. So I'm curious, if you've ever faced a point, and type this in the chat box, have you ever faced a point in your life where you've actually tried to convince yourself that you're good enough, that you deserve something great, but you never actually start to believe it? Like, this might make more sense. Like, you want to believe that you can achieve these goals, but you just don't. It's like if you do a vision board or you write those goals down, earn $300,000 by January 1st, 2019, or whatever your goal is, right? You write these really big goals on a board or on your paper. You do this big vision board with this nice house, big fancy car, right? And you think it'd be so freaking awesome to achieve that goal. You think it'd be amazing because it's going to lead you to your dream life. But there's that little voice just hanging out, right here, just going, nah, no way that's ever going to happen, right? It's kind of like this little devil on your shoulder just kind of laughing at you, right? Have you ever experienced that, right? Where there's that little devil laughing you, telling you that it is not possible, just whispering doubt and insignificance into your subconscious mind. Tonight, you're going to change that thinking. So what is thinking? Lots of yeses here. That's good. Okay, so we can fix this. Let's figure out what thinking is. Thinking, positive or negative, is nothing more than the process of asking yourself a question. That's what thinking is. See, if you focus on asking yourself disempowering questions, you are going to get disempowering answers. If you focus on asking really, really great questions, you're going to get really great and empowering answers. See, the mistake that I made was I just thought I had to work harder, right? Just work harder and keep going and you're going to get there. But I had this inner conflict because I never believed that I was enough. And yeah, you got to work your ass off to achieve your dreams, but there's a point when you're working so long and doing all the right things and you're wondering what's going on, is because you have inner conflict. See, when you focus on what you don't want, those are the seeds of doubt and skepticism and pain. And they grow in your mind like weeds with speed. They're rapid growth and they're negative. Everyone right now, let's do an exercise. Look around the room or outside or anything for anything that you can find that is red. Look around your room right now. Look for red. Look for red. Look for red. Look for red. Count the things that are red. How many things are you finding that's red? Look for red. 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 Even pink, whatever it is, any type of red. Look for red. All right. You guys look for red? How many things did you find that were blue? 0, maybe 1, right? Because you weren't looking for it, right? You weren't looking for blue. Now, look around the room for everything you, thanks, Niki. Look around the room for everything that you can find that's blue. Ready? And go. Look for blue. Look for blue, 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 look for blue. How many things did you find that were blue this time? How many more? Right? A lot more probably. And you probably even saw things that were green or teal, turquoise, and rationalized that they were blue just so you could feel successful with this exercise. Right? So when you look for something, you tend to find it. Right? Even though other things are there, when you're looking for something, you tend to find it. Have you ever wanted to buy a car? And when you're like, you decide one day, I'm going to buy a 2018 Ford Fusion, whatever it is. And all of a sudden, you see that car everywhere. Did that car just magically appear? No. It's always been everywhere, right? There is this little part of your brain called the reticular activating system. And what it does is it fizzles out everything that you're not focused on. So the reason I tell you all that is because when you focus on what you don't want, why does my business suck? Why do people always say no? How come my team doesn't ever rank advance? You're looking for red when there's blue there all along, right? If you guys haven't listened to Jim Rohn's Building Your Network Marketing Business, listen to it, right? He says, stand guard at the gates of your mind or weeds will grow automatically. So ask yourself this right now. Say to yourself in your own mind, why am I not enough? Just ask yourself that right now. Why am I not enough? What happens? Do you notice that you start actually trying to answer that question, right? What happens when you say, why doesn't my team do anything? How many of you guys have ever said, why isn't my team doing anything? Has anyone ever said that? Don't lie. Don't lie. People have definitely said that. If you lie about that, lie about other shit too, right? So how motivated do you feel when you focus on what's wrong, right? When you focus on red, when you focus on what's not working, how motivated do you feel when you focus on that? Not at all, right? Actually, great. Why isn't my team big enough yet? Right? That's a good example of looking for red, right? And even when you read happy, inspirational, motivational, positive thinking books, you still have that little voice that says you're not enough. Everyone on this call has a limiting belief. We all do. And like I said, if you don't believe you have a limiting belief, that is a limiting belief. So what are your limiting beliefs? Really think about that. What do you think is limiting you? I'm not enough. I'm not in shape enough yet. I'm not a good leader. How many of you have thoughts like this on a regular basis? Why don't I have enough money? Why can I never get it right? Why am I so lonely? Why don't people like me? Why do I always mess it up? How come Niki has it so much easier? Why is it so hard to lose weight? Why am I so broke? Why do I never catch a break? Why is it always so much easier for other new coaches? Why can't I do anything right? Why am I so unhappy? How many of you guys are assholes to yourself like that on a regular basis, right? Those are negative things that you're asking yourself. That is you looking for red, right? It does not feel very good to ask yourself those questions, right? And I bet it leads to a lot of pain, a lot of procrastination, a lot of big dreams without the results. And you're sitting there looking at your life, frustrated with the results you're getting, even though you want something more. Right? And no matter how much someone tells you that you can have success with your business, no matter how many people tell you that they believe in you, no matter how many times you see other people like you achieving big things, there's that little voice that says, no, you can't. Do you know what I'm talking about, or am I crazy? Right? So when you set a goal, your dominant beliefs, or whether you're looking for red or looking for blue, is going to determine if that goal will come true. And setting goals, guys, think about this. Setting goals is nothing more than trying to create a new reality as opposed to your current reality. That's what goal setting is, right? You're trying to change your current reality, but there's a gap between those two places, right? That gap is whether you're deciding to look for red or look for blue, right? And until you actually believe you can do something, it's going to be really hard to create that new reality that you want. Even though it would be life-changing to achieve a goal, you just don't believe it's possible, right? We talked about that. You can change that with better questions. Your entire life, your relationship with your husband can be changed with better questions. So when you ask yourself a question, your brain automatically searches for the answer. So if you try it, right? Ask yourself this: why can I never save money? Even if you're wealthy, you still try to find an answer to that question, right? Your brain actually looks for an answer, even if you're wealthy. And just like Google, it spits out all the reasons why you're broke or should be broke. So what about your limiting belief that I just asked about a minute ago? We'll use mine just as an example. Why won't I ever be enough to achieve success? Why won't I ever be enough for other people, right? Your brain looks for the answer if you ask yourself that question, if you look for red. And even if you're successful, you start to question if you're worthy of success. So what if you intentionally reverse this? What do I mean by that? If your responses are just like a Google search engine, that means that whatever you type in, you're going to get an answer. So all you have to do to start to believe in yourself, to actually achieve these dreams, is to change what you type into your mental Google. Your brain is looking for the answer 100% of the time, whether you're asking it consciously or subconsciously. So you might as well ask it an intelligent question that's going to lead you to a better life. So if right now, if you're wired for procrastination, unhappiness, stress, anxiety, even depression, it means one thing. It means lately you're asking yourself pretty poor questions. If you ask yourself, why is it so hard to build my business? And you look for red, right? That's what you focus on so you don't see the blue, right? And so you never find the answer to your biggest challenges. When you sit down to work, your brain is looking for every reason why you're not capable, so you don't send the invites, you scroll Facebook. You don't support your clients. You wonder why it's so easy for Niki to hit Success Club, but not you, right? And here's what's crazy. There are amazing people that stumble across your life, amazing opportunities to learn and grow, blue, right? Stumbling across your life every single day, but because your software is looking for red, the why is it so hard mentality, self-sabotage steps in, and you won't even notice the incredible opportunities sitting right in front of you. Your neighbor might be wondering right now how the hell they're going to pay for their kids' college tuition, but you've been focused on why you're going to get rejected, so you don't ask him to be a coach, right? You're not focused on the opportunities, you're focused on the challenges and the fears. So if you're not where you want to be, you're literally getting what you're asking for because you're asking bad questions. You see the power in this. So change this up a little bit. Ask yourself this question right now in your mind. Ask yourself, why is it so easy to change thousands of lives? Try that. Ask yourself right now, why is it so easy to change thousands of lives? What happens? You still look for the answer. And even if you're brand new, you find all the reasons why you can freaking do this, right? Ask yourself this: why is it so easy to rank advance this week, right? What happened? If you're new, you go, oh, it's only 2 people, right? If you're an Emerald coach, you go, oh, it's only 8 people, right? You focus on how it's easy to do. You focus on the answer, finding the solution instead of the challenge. And you start to focus on the opportunities, the people you could reach out to, the sacrifices you could make to build your business. Could you imagine if you flooded your mind with this every day? And here's the key. You don't need to have the answer to the question that you ask. You just need to live in an empowering question that leads you towards the life that you want. That's all you need to do. Because when you're in the right state of mind, you're focused on the blue, the how is going to reveal itself, right? Always remember that. You don't need to know how, you're going to figure out how, right? But if you have the why and you ask yourself the right question, you're going to get there. But live in an empowering question. Write this down. Every problem you face is simply a question that hasn't been answered yet. That's it. Every problem you face is simply a question that hasn't been answered yet. So for your life and your business, your homework coming out of this, I want you to write down all the negative stuff that you ask yourself all the time. Why am I so broke? Why is my husband never around? Why is my business not growing? Why am I stuck? Why am I so fat? Whatever it is, right? Write down anything negative that you ask yourself on a regular basis, because we all do it. We're all human, right? It's easier to teach this than it is to do. But think about this, write all of those down, and I want you to flip them on their head. So turn those questions into, why is it so easy to blank? Insert empowering question, right? Why am I so wealthy? Why is my business booming? Why is it so easy to lead my team? Why am I such a great leader? The two questions that changed my entire life: why am I so kind to myself? And why am I worthy of living an amazing life? Guys, life will get 100% easier when you're just 1% nicer to yourself. You can write that one down. Life gets 100% easier when you are just 1% nicer to yourself. And so what you guys need to do is take those new empowering questions, put them on Post-it notes all over your house. Think about this. If you're struggling with your weight right now and you have the question, why is it so easy to maintain a healthy lifestyle, on a Post-it note in the fridge, are you going to grab the Nutella or the spinach, right? Think about that. If you have, why is it so easy to find it, or why am I such a great spouse, or why do I find a new reason to fall in love with my husband every single day, in your car, on the dashboard, the second you get in the driveway, you read that, how different are you going to walk in that door, right? You're going to go up to him and you're going to hug him. Think about that, right? You reprogram your mind with this. One thing I did to change my life is I even recorded it on here. I even recorded it and listened to it overnight while I slept. I just reprogrammed my subconscious mind with better questions, right? That's just one of the things that I teach my clients on how to rewire their negative self-talk. Your life will change if you do just this one thing. Just this one thing, I promise you, right? So this is just one of the things that changed my life. You're planting new thought seeds and you're watering them daily with a question. And all of a sudden, you stopped watering the disempowering plants, if you will, and you let those weeds die in your garden. And now the only plants that you water are the flowers. And within less time than you think, your garden's absolutely gorgeous and it's blooming with so many colors and it's giving your life oxygen again. And when you are happy, this is the whole purpose of my program, Appreciation Academy. When you're happy, it makes success so much easier, because guess who wants to be around you when you're happy? Everyone. Guess how much easier it is to invite to a challenge group when you learn how to appreciate your life and be happy? So much easier. Guess how much people want to be part of your team when you are genuinely happy and you water those flowers? Everyone wants to be a part of your team because you are radiating energy. Because in your life, guys, things are going to get tough, but you get to choose if you suffer from those tough things or not. It's optional. So that's just one master tool. I'm going to give you one more on how to eliminate negative self-talk tonight. And it's so simple, and it can change how you feel in an instant, right? I call it the secret sauce. You might know it as genuine gratitude, right? And I don't mean the bullshit gratitude where you're like, yeah, I'm grateful I have a roof over my head, right? I mean real gratitude. I thought gratitude was a crock of shit for the longest time. Raise your hand. How many of you guys practice gratitude for at least 10 minutes a day every day? Raise your hand. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. And if you don't, what I'm going to teach you right now is how you can actually use gratitude as a business tool. This is how this changed my life, right? So just to kind of preface this, try to feel totally defeated and depressed while smiling really big and jumping up and down in the mirror naked, right? It's impossible. It is literally impossible to feel depressed while you do that, right? And that's just one way to be happy. Gratitude makes everything better. So write this down. It is impossible to feel pain when you're deeply grateful. All the answers you want in your business are possible when you are grateful, because in your life, you are going to experience pain. Pain in your life is guaranteed. It's guaranteed. It's coming. But suffering from that pain is your choice. It's up to you, and it's optional. I don't mean gratitude where you say like, yeah, I'm grateful I have a roof over my head, like I said. I mean where you genuinely feel gratitude. I'm going to teach you how to do this in a second. It's just one of the skills that will help you get your business growing faster. But gratitude attracts people to you. They want to be part of your life. Opportunities, things, situations, solutions come to you so much faster because you are grateful for what you already have. Big news flash. If you want to get there, but you're currently not grateful that you're here, you will never get there. You have to be grateful for this if you ever want that. Think about it. If you're God, the universe, whatever you believe in, and you're bitching about your current circumstances, why would you be given more? Right? Think about that. It doesn't make sense. Right? The issue is that most of us don't take time to realize how lucky we really are. So think about this. You're watching a video on a computer or a phone from anywhere in the world, right? You probably have a cozy blanket over you right now. You're probably wondering what you're going to have for date night on Friday. You're probably going to drive your car to your job tomorrow and pull into that parking spot of the company where you earn a good living to provide for your family. You're probably going to take your kids to the doctor some point to get medical care, right? You might even take your dog to the vet to get treated for hot spots on his arm, right? You might even sit down tonight after this call and turn on Apple TV and watch some Friends or Breaking Bad or Parks and Rec or whatever, right? And most of that we take for granted. When there is a mother out there who just watched her baby starve to death today, literally, right? When there are people out there injecting needles into their arms to cope with pain, when there are countries that still live with communism. See, you're so accustomed to the miracles happening around you every day that you don't even see them as miracles anymore. Most of you view miracles as scarce, just statistically, right? That makes sense. And you need to learn how to appreciate that everything around you was once just a thought or an idea. The computer or phone you were watching this on was once an idea. It's incredible, right? The team that you were on, this was once an idea for Niki. This was once an idea. That's it, just an idea. And this proves that you can create miracles too, right? You have the tendency to let go of that gratitude and make it a rule that you can only feel gratitude or happiness if something happens. And that is setting yourself up for suffering, right? Nothing needs to happen for you to feel good. It's like you're climbing a mountain and you're saying, I'm going to be happy once I get to the top, right? But if you hike a mountain that way, do you ever get to sit there and appreciate the ups and downs, the beautiful scenery, the wildlife along the way? Guys, the journey is the answer. The answer isn't up there, right? What you're going through right now is the answer to getting up there, right? And as long as you structure your life in a way where your happiness is dependent upon something you can't control, or your happiness is dependent upon a goal, you will never be truly fulfilled in the way that you desire. Even if you have a shit ton of success, you could be winning at life and feel like you're losing because the scorecard you're using is unfair, because it only allows you to feel happy if something happens. And this is going to be hard because a lot of you guys, I see some of the names on here, a lot of you guys are big achievers, right? Think about this. Achievement without gratitude is total failure. Achievement without gratitude is total failure. You could be a 15-star diamond coach, but if you're not genuinely grateful for where you are right now, you failed, right? That might be hard to hear, but it's true. It's impossible to feel pain, though, when you are grateful. If you live in the US or Canada or the UK, and you're in the bottom 1% of these countries, you're in the top 1% of the world. You are breathing, you're alive. That should be enough to smile about. And if you're smiling, business becomes so much easier. Guys, life without gratitude is misery. And if you love life, nothing's worth being ungrateful for. We stress so much and forget what to be thankful for, but when you're grateful, you open up the gateway to an amazing life, right? A lot of you are high achievers. You have these huge expectations of where your life should be right now. Even your spouse, your kids, your team, your sales, your challenge groups, whatever it is. And when your life conditions, the way your life is right now, doesn't align with what you want, you get frustrated, right? And when you're frustrated and pissed off, about your life not being where you want it to be, that's not a very resourceful state to get your life to where you want it to go, right? So you sabotage and it screws you up, right? And it's almost like we have these rules that need to come true if we're going to get to where we want to be. I challenge you to let that go. Just like Tony Robbins says, trade your expectations for appreciations and your life changes in an instant. That's one to write down. Trade your expectations for appreciations and your life changes in an instant. So I have a challenge for you. Adopt a gratitude practice, a real one. I'm going to take you through a mini one right now just to show you how this is a business tool. But I challenge you to practice at least 5-10 minutes of genuine gratitude every day before you get out of the bed and before you go to bed, right? It can be a video, it can be meditation, doesn't matter. But your view of life literally determines your future and how your business goes. So every single day, you need to condition your mind to focus on being grateful, and slowly the anxiety, the overwhelm, the depression, the fear, the negative self-talk, you're going to slowly start to notice it not as much, and you're going to become excited every single day. I went through a period of time where I knew what I wanted so bad, right? Niki, not if you remember this, right? But I would sit there and wondering why things aren't working, right? So often I'd wonder why things aren't working. Even I would sit there on the couch, binge watching these TV shows, having bad days like 4 days a week, right? And it was terrible. I would just get like depressed, and even worse, I was pissed off at myself that I was depressed. I knew exactly what I needed to do. And my computer was literally, not if you guys can agree with this, your computer's literally staring at you saying, bro, like, why aren't you inviting right now? But you don't care, yet you care so much, right? And it hurt. And from practicing what I'm going to show you in a second, those periods of overwhelmed depression decreased. And now my natural default setting is genuine happiness, right? My natural default setting is look for blue. And yes, I'm human, just like everyone here. That I'm still human. We have these times where we get overcome by this woe is me mentality, and we get kind of depressed and useless that day. But I can tell you right now how to get out of it in 2 minutes, right? And this is not something that I created myself. This is something that I teach all my clients, something that I learned from multiple different mentors that I'm going to show you guys right now. And so I'm going to do this exercise with you guys, and I'm going to show you how gratitude is actually a business tool. Like, it's actually a business tool. So if you are not in a place right now where you can play all out and be vulnerable and allow yourself to get emotional, then go somewhere where you can. Go somewhere where you can, because I want you guys to really soak this up. If you're not soaking it up, it's not going to work, and you're not going to see the value in it, okay? So close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. I think we have a couple people unmuted. If you guys could mute yourself too, that'd be awesome. But close your eyes, and I want you to think right now of a problem in your business. A problem in your business on a scale 1 to 10 that stresses you out at a 7 or higher. Think of that problem right now, right? It can be any part of your business, but any problem. Good. Close your eyes, sit up straight, put some energy in you, sit up straight. And now take both your hands and physically put them on your heart. Actually do this. There's science behind this. Physically put your hands on your heart and breathe deep into your heart. Imagine air actually going into your heart right now as you breathe. And keep your eyes closed. Don't open them until I tell you to open them. Breathe deep in your heart and feel the power of your heart. And as you imagine that oxygen and life flowing into your heart, just take a second and just appreciate the fact that you're living right now, that this heart is beating, that your heart literally beats 100,000 times a day without you having to work for it. As long as that thing beats, you have this gift of life. So really think about this and feel the power of it. You didn't have to work for this heart. God, the universe, whatever you believe in, thought enough of you to give you this gift of life the second you were born. And as long as it beats, you live. So take a second and just feel so grateful that this thing is beating right now. And just appreciate it as you breathe into your heart. Just feel so grateful. And when you're in that state of gratitude, go back to a memory, any amazing memory from your past that you can feel so grateful for. And I want you to picture that memory. Picture that memory, and instead of seeing that memory from the outside, relive that memory for a second. Go back to that moment and breathe the same way you did then. Feel the same exact things you felt then. And just appreciate that memory. Think of all that it led to. Think about where your life is right now because of that memory. Was it when you said I do? Was it when you had your first baby, your second baby? What is it for you? And relive it and just stack that gratitude on top of your heart. Just literally feel it stack on top of this gift of life. Breathe the same way and just experience that feeling of appreciation for a second. And now go back to a second memory and do the same thing. Instead of reliving, or instead of looking at the memory from the outside, relive that memory. Feel the exact same emotions you felt then. Breathe the same way you did then. See what you saw then right now, like it's happening, like you're literally there in the moment again. And I want you to feel those same emotions and stack that gratitude on top. Think of what it led to in your life and just appreciate that for a second and just stack that gratitude on top of your heart. And with your eyes closed, now think of a coincidence in your life. What's a coincidence in your life that you can feel so grateful for? You were in line at Starbucks and you met the love of your life, right? What is it for you? What's a coincidence in your life that you can feel genuine gratitude for? What did it lead to? Because it's really beautiful when you can see that life is always happening for you and not to you. Think of that coincidence. Think of all that it led to and just appreciate and breathe deep in your heart and feel the power of that moment and just appreciate it. Just feel grateful for it and appreciate and breathe into your heart, feeling all this gratitude. Stack it all on top of each other. The gratitude for just the fact that that heart is beating, the gratitude for that first moment, for that second moment, for that third moment, and feel the genuine gratitude and appreciation for all of these beautiful things in life. And when you're in this beautiful, beautiful state, I want you to repeat these words. In this situation, all I have to do, think of that stressful situation in your business. What's that stressful situation? In this situation, all I have to do is blank. In this situation, all I need to say is blank. In this situation, all I need to forgive is blank. In this situation, all I need to become is blank. In this situation, all I have to do is blank. Because when you are living in genuine gratitude, your heart already knows the answer to the most challenging problems in your business. And even if it doesn't have the exact answer, it guided you towards the answer that will solve your problem. You just solved your stressor or found direction in a challenging situation in 2 minutes. That is the power of genuine gratitude. You guys can open your eyes. How many of you guys found some direction in that 2 minutes? Any sort of direction at all? Raise your hand if you found some direction. Amazing, right? So that is the power of gratitude. That is how you can use it as an actual business tool, right? And that's what you're really after, right? Feeling grateful for your life, appreciating your life. Guys, this is literally what I teach all my clients. Appreciation comes first. Success comes second, right? That's what we need to know. Appreciation comes first. Success comes second, right? Your business doesn't cause you happiness. Your business is a vehicle. Hey guys, I think someone's unmuted on there.
My power hour. Sometimes it's power pocket. So if I
There we go. Guys, your business is a vehicle that's just bringing you towards a better life, but your better life can be lived right now, right? Like you have one shot at this life, real talk. And most people go through life trying to stay safe, never really going for it, being dominated by fear, never reaching out to those people. You are not that person because your life could change at any moment in time. You have literally, think about this, one chance in this world. And you're not going to have all the answers before you go for it, right? If you wait for the answers, you are going to be waiting forever. But think about this, your clock on life is ticking. And at any moment, it could run out. And you think about this for just really taking the gravity of this. You don't control the length of your life, but you do control its depth and its meaning. You weren't put here to experience mediocrity. You were put here to feel fully alive every second of every day. So you have to take your pain and make it mean something. All those painful moments from your past, you need to learn how to appreciate them. Because without the screaming matches I witnessed almost every day as a child, I wouldn't be nearly as good of a spouse to her. Without the horrible imprint of money in my life, I wouldn't have learned how to have an abundant mindset and attract people and opportunities to look for blue like I am now, right? Without that constant feeling of mediocrity that I felt every single day with that laptop staring at me, right? I wouldn't have learned where my hunger, I wouldn't have had this hunger, this drive, this passion. I would have never created Appreciation Academy, right? Without being so confused by my mom's way of showing love, and literally the only way that she knew how at the time, I wouldn't have craved acceptance. I wouldn't have ever learned how to be a speaker. I wouldn't have followed my passion. I wouldn't be living my passion. I wouldn't be teaching people how to be appreciative of their life to bring them success, right? So really take this in. If your life was exactly as you wanted it to be your whole life, if your life never went through those painful points, if the people in your life, this is big, if the people in your life were the perfect version that you haven't forgiven them for not being, you wouldn't be the gift of a person you are today. You wouldn't be able to make the impact you're able to make today. You went through that shit for a reason, right? Those people, they were crafting you, they were molding you, they were sculpting you into the person you are today. Those memories, those people, that one person, that situation, that was exactly what you needed it to be. That person was exactly who you needed them to be. They played the exact role they needed to play to create you. What they did might not have been easy, but it was not wrong because it created you. So you need to learn how to be grateful for it. You wouldn't be the person you're proud to be today without it. So as we close this up, I want you to actually envision this. Let's do another closed eye process real quick. If you're in a place where you can be vulnerable for a second, just allow yourself to do this. Close your eyes. And I want you to imagine that you're 85 years old, just sitting on your front porch, drinking some sweet tea or Energize like you crazy beach body people do, drinking Energize, right? And you're sitting there with your husband or wife, and you see your grandkids going by on their bikes, just starting out their journey, right? What do you want to feel as you close this chapter to your life? Do you want to regret never going for it? Or do you want to smile and be grateful that you lived the life that you're meant to live? See, there's no guarantees. Keep your eyes closed. There's no guarantee that you will live to be 85 to experience that. You could literally die tomorrow. So really think about this. If this was your last night here, what would you think about the way that you lived up until now? Death is literally one of the greatest teachers in life, right? Imagine for a second that death was a person, like an actual person. Just play with me on this. And this dude came to you tonight and said, hey, it's time to go. And you asked for another week so you could really enjoy it, so you could play all out, so you could say the things you need to say and experience genuine fulfillment. That dude, death, would laugh at you and go, no, dude, I gave you 25, 35, 45 years to enjoy your life. You chose not to, so it's time. So if you're in that spot right now on your front porch, watching your grandkids go by on their bikes, picture yourself. If you continue living the same way you've been living, are you genuinely happy in that moment? Are you smiling? Are you living your truth? Are you wishing that you would be starting over again like them because you never went for it, because you always held back, because you always let negative self-talk control you, because you lived in fear, because you said no to playing all out in this gift of life? And I can't fast forward to that moment and have a guarantee that it ended up the way that you currently want it, but remember that clock on life is ticking, and you never know when it's going to run out. So when is now a good time to appreciate your life? Think about this. You weren't put on this earth to suffer. You weren't put here to be dominated by negative self-talk and limiting beliefs. So if this was your last night here, ask yourself this. Would you worry about the little grudges or complaints? Would you worry about why your business wasn't where you want it to be? Right? Would it be fair to limit your abilities because of insignificant things like that? Not one bit. So why not live every week like you would that last week? How would every interaction be different from now until Sunday if you played all out like that until Sunday or for the rest of your life? Think about this. How would you love your family? How would you hold your husband? Would that be different? How would you greet them? How would you greet your baby when you walked in the door? How would you play with your dog? Right? How would you greet your team? How would you handle the word no? How would you make your interactions mean something? Would you take a second to make a memory out of every single situation? Just make those memories last one little heartbeat longer instead of being so damn rushed all the time. What if you literally chose to make a memory out of everything so you literally felt the imprint of your daughter's head on your chest? Right? What if you could still feel that? What if you could still feel the kiss your husband gave you at the end of the day? What if you learned how to make a memory out of your life and appreciate and love every waking moment? What memories would you leave with the people around you? What would you say to your parents? Would you forgive your parents? Would you tell them you love them, right? How would you make your husband or wife feel? So don't fear that situation of death. The end of your life is simply used as for some perspective on this call, but it's coming, right? The only reason it feels uncomfortable to bring that up is because you crave life. And life is a choice that you have every single day of your life. It's how you answer those questions I just asked. That's life. So why not live all out every single week? That's how you beat fear. Imagine how your life would be so different if you lived every single day that way. Because right now, you are exactly where you need to be to learn what you need to learn to live the life you're meant to live. You need to appreciate the fact that you are in this challenge right now, because that's how you get to that goal. So remember, this gift of life that you're experiencing isn't happening to you. This challenge is not happening to you. It is happening for you. So thank you guys so much for the incredible opportunity to speak to you tonight. If you found this valuable, if you found a deep connection with the words I shared tonight, if you want to stay in touch with me, head to bradbizjack.com, head to appreciationacademy.com. Obviously, I'm not trying to sell you something, just it's real and it will change your entire life. So check out that program. I'm fully confident that you'll be very glad that you did. You can find it on my website or at appreciationacademy.com. So thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you guys tonight. Niki, I will turn it back over to you. I'm happy to do any questions you guys have, but thank you so much for allowing me to speak to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. I felt like I was just brought to church or therapy or, I don't know, everybody has tissues and everything went down their face. I think it's a good thing, but I think it's important. I think a lot of times we talk all business, and I think a lot of times it really just stems from the limiting beliefs that we put in ourselves. So I appreciate you. I thank you for all the wisdom that you brought. I took a million notes, and so just incredibly grateful. It was great. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor, guys.
Yeah.
Anytime you guys need anything,